Welcome back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network. Dana Gayler, Ryan Oakley, Anthony Bellino, all joining you. And as we're diving more and more into this NFL draft, where will the Lions be at number 6? What will they do there? And how does that affect what happens at number 18? Well, let's find out about one of those guys who's going to be right about in that range, and depending on if the Lions are going on the defensive line, or maybe if Will Anderson falls there at 6, they're going to have to address the secondary because of, well, they have limited players that are going to be on contract after all the free agent acquisitions this offseason that played cornerback, and we have to start looking at who is this team going to draft. They move on from Jeff Okudah, who was selected number 3 by the Lions under the Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia regime, if you will. So let's take a look at one guy who might possibly be there, plus maybe another sleeper a little bit later on from Penn State. That's where we welcome in Steve Jones, play-by-play man for the Penn State Nittany Lions. Mr. Jones, how are you, my friend? How are things? How's life?
Good morning. Great to be with you today.
It is an absolute pleasure. We're trying to figure out exactly, obviously, nobody knows anything about what's going to happen on Thursday, but the Lions do have 2 picks, and that second pick could potentially be a guy from your camp, and that is Joey Porter Jr. So we wanted to learn a little bit more about what Joey Porter Jr. brings to the table in the secondary. What did you see from him? Where was there a light bulb moment for you where like, oh yeah, this guy's got the goods. This is a Sunday football player.
Yeah, first of all, Will Anderson's available at 6. Take him. Okay. So, as for Joey Porter Jr., you could see it like a year ago that he was really starting to get there. The one element that he had that worked against him is I thought when he was a junior, so in the 21 season, he had a tendency at times, whether it was practice or in games, to be too handsy. And then you watched him in the spring a year ago, and it's a habit he broke. And then the breakout game was the opener against Purdue. And Purdue, Aiden O'Connell, they throw the football a lot, not a little, a lot. And for whatever reason, they kept attacking him all night long. He had 6 pass breakups. He had a fumble recovery in the game. He played a phenomenal game. And that's the way he played all season long. He became a lockdown, shutdown corner on that side to the point where they started throwing in the other direction. And that's one of the reasons why, people always ask, why so few interceptions in his career? I always say, you know what, they have to throw at you to get picks. And I think he's a guy that's got the length, really good speed, uses leverage well, and I think he'll be an excellent NFL corner.
And he's got really good measurements, too. I mean, 6'2.5". He's 193 pounds at the combine. His arm length is 34 inches. His hands are 10 inches like that. We're talking about this sort of like almost a new wave or new generation of defensive back, especially at the corner position, where guys are just getting bigger, right? It just feels like, and I don't know what kind of data I could find to support this, but it feels like the average height of corners now that are being selected, like that's going up, and he seems to kind of fit that mold.
Yeah, you're exactly right about that, because I feel I've watched in college football a lot of smaller corners for years and years. And then in the last 4 or 5 years, I feel like I'm seeing corners that have a lot of length. And when he came into camp for the first time when he was a true freshman, he had that look. Now, he needed to put some weight on and bulk and so forth. But you could see that he had right away the profile you were looking for in the modern corner. And then it turned out that he had the instincts and the cover skills to go with it. And because of that, he has developed into a first-round pick.
It is it is very interesting, and I'm right with you. Will Anderson's there at 6. You got to take him, but they are at some point they're going to have to address the secondary, and maybe that's at pick number 18, and that's why I'll be like, we got to learn a little bit more about this young man, because who knows if he's there. I mean, it's one of those things where I kind of like him. Not gonna lie, I kind of like him, and I like the physical aspect that he plays with in press man. Like, he's not afraid. You mentioned getting handsy. He's not afraid to put his hands on you. And as long as you're within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, go beat him up a little bit.
Right. Well, and in college football, you can go further downfield with it. And that's where you can see it, because the college football doesn't have the 5-yard rule. So it's going to be one of those, if you want to put him in press coverage, he's strong enough at the line of scrimmage. He can knock you off your route in the first 1 to 2 steps. That's big. And I think he's the kind of guy that is going to translate very well to the league. His father obviously was a tremendous player with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And now you see him with the football instincts that his father had, now translating to the corner position. He's a different kind of player than his dad for obvious reasons. His dad played linebacker. But he is somebody that I think in today's game in the NFL, he's exactly the kind of guy that you need. And I think 18's a really good spot for him.
And I love to see a Big Ten guy stay home. You know, people think because of my allegiance to Michigan that I don't take Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan State, Minnesota. I don't care where you come from. If you're coming to the Honolulu Blue and Silver, Steve, we just need you to be productive. And you mentioned his father. Like, yeah, they play different positions. But when your dad's Joey Porter, you're going to be built to beat people. Like, you're going to be built to hit people. That's just the way it is. It's genetics. It's science.
And it's great, too, because I'll say this. People kind of wondered how much Joey Porter Sr. would hang around here. And I'm at practice every day. He was dad, right? And he'd show up once in a great while like any other parent would, and that was it. He was great the entire time here. And Joey's personality is whomever drafts it, you're going to see that personality in him come out right away. And he has that kind of outgoing personality I think the media is going to really like.
Anything off the field we need to be worried about because it is red flag season. Yellow flags on the field, red flags off the field.
Let me ask you something. Have you ever heard of an S2 test? I'd never heard of that till this week.
I heard S2 test.
Yeah, the Wonderlic. They got rid of Wonderlic, and this is the C.J. Stroud thing lately, where they're saying that it's your ability to make decision making. And I guess Bryce Young got a 98, Will Levis got a 93 out of 100, and Stroud got an 18. And this is the whole thing where they're saying that why he's going to drop down. I never heard of it. Have you?
The Wonderlic, yeah, I didn't know like the S2. I maybe it's a
never heard of it.
Yeah, I don't know. Can you, if we put on film, can you tell me where guys are going? I don't care if you can tell me what pi means out there. I just need you to play football.
That's exactly right. That's what I said to somebody. So I was on an interview and they brought up this S2 test, not with Penn State players, just about him, because they asked me about him because obviously as you know Penn State played him. And I said, look, I saw the guy throw for 400 yards and 6 touchdowns against Michigan State. I saw him throw for 360 yards and 4 touchdowns against Penn State. And I saw him shred the Georgia defense. I said, how much more testing do you need?
Those are the only tests. Every test is every Saturday. And are you prepared for the test the correct way? And more times than not, C.J. Stroud was that guy. Yeah. I do want to also ask you about one other position that the Lions are probably going to look at addressing here, and that is a very interesting prospect Todd McShay brought up in tight end Brenton Strange. Now, he said that everything is average. Nothing's poor, nothing's good, everything's average. And then when I look at this guy get off the line of scrimmage, the acceleration he has, the route running, getting in and out of his breaks, I see him as an inline blocker, narrow frame, but he is nasty, man. That's a pretty good recommendation there from McShay.
Well, let me put it this way. He is the kind of guy that you can line up at tight end right on the line of scrimmage next to a tackle. You can line him up as an H-back or even slide him back and use him as a pseudo fullback, or you can put him in the slot. So he brings all that versatility to you. He has excellent hands, and this guy will give up his body to be a blocker in the offense. So he does all of that you're asking to do. Is he spectacular? No, he's not spectacular, but you know what? Football's made up, and every sport is made up of a bunch of really good players that are absolutely needed to support the spectacular players. Brenton Strange is going to make any football team better because of the versatility and the skill set he brings.
He is Steve Jones, play-by-play man for the Penn State Nittany Lions. A little draft prospectus and profile. Steve, my friend, thank you so much for your time today, partner, waking up early with us. We greatly appreciate it and enjoy the NFL draft and what it means for college programs across the country to send their guys to the next level.
It's always great to talk to you. Appreciate it very much.